Hey, Ag Teacher Christmas here, coming at you with another video. Well, this is going to kind of be one of those instructionals, but like mildly a little bit of a rant. Many of you have noticed that modern blow molds are now coming battery operated. Why? I don't know. I think it's kind of tied to the phasing out of incandescent light bulbs for LEDs, just kind of the government push for that. So they've switched over to battery operated. I really don't like that because it's actually more difficult for me to use these if they're battery operated. So what we're going to do is we're going to convert one of these over to incandescent lights using some tips and tricks and tools of the animated Christmas light hobby. So yes, it is a hobby, and we have some tools that you can get to convert these over to incandescent. Now this is going to be a little bit rough, but follow along and you'll learn something. All right, let's get you all up and close so you can see what's going on. Okay, let's talk about some of the supplies that we're going to need for this. We're going to need some zip ties. You're going to need some strings of old C6 or C9 lights. And then you're going to use something that is one of these specialty items from Animated Christmas Lighters. And these are what are called vampire plugs. So these are designed to fit on lamp cord, otherwise known as SPT. So there's SPT1 and SPT2. This is SPT1 because it's thinner. The insulation is thinner. SPT2 has thicker insulation, but on both of them the wire gauge is the same. So those are my SPT2, these are my SPT1, and yes, I have a toolbox that is dedicated to nothing but my vampire plugs because I use them so much. Okay, as far as tools, you're going to need a small Phillips screwdriver, wire cutter strippers, and then I find a zip tie tool. This one's from Harbor Freight. That will set and cut your zip ties to the appropriate tension and length. And that's our main tools here. Okay, so first thing, let's get some of these things out of the way. We can go ahead. Oh, last thing you need. I use 2 wire nuts. I don't go super fancy on these. They're going to be in the yard, so I'm not really worried about issues as far as, you know, if we get a short or something like that, my circuits will protect it. If it catches fire, it's going to just melt down in the yard. It's no big deal. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and take these screws off here. Actually, let's open this back up. Put the screws in there for safekeeping. Since we are in an outdoor location, and if I lose those, they're going to go a long ways out of my reach. There are 4 screws on this one, and they kind of use them as a self-threading screw or a self-tapping screw. They just have a hole there, and they shove these screws into it, and they cut their own threads, which is why you see that there's plastic buildup on those. So we can take this unit out, just kind of pop it out. And that's what's inside. There's the bottom of the blow mold. We're not reusing any of this stuff here, and we do need access to the bottom, so we're going to take off that one last screw. And that holds open our battery container. And we'll pop that open. Okay, like I said, we need none of this. So we're just going to remove it, just with brute force. Oops. Sorry, that was a little loud. I actually soldered that one decently. Okay. All right. You can discard all that in the trash. We're not going to need it. The next thing is these studs. Those are all going to come off. Let me go get my other tool for that. My little pliers are gone, so we're just going to use the big ones. Just pull those tabs off. You don't need them. It's going to make that flat-ish. If I really want to be super fancy, I'd take a Dremel over this. I don't have time for that, so I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, so there is the base. This is where we're going to attach everything. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to split these wires. So they will split down that middle seam. Just kind of pull, just like that. And I like to put a wire cap over both of them. That's just going to keep those wires isolated. Everything will stay dry because it's inside of a sealed blow mold. Okay, so there's that. We're going to prep this end. So this, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to separate these wires just slightly, ever so slightly. Little tiny separation there. And then I cut them a different length so they don't line up. And I leave this little gap in between. All right, let's see if we can get you a little closer. Okay, there's that little gap. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to thread that through. We're going to just put this over the top like that. All right, so it's going to sit like that. We're going to use 3 zip ties. We're going to start down here, go on that side where there's a gap. We're going to come out on this opposite side, which comes back over in here. Pull that zip tie down nice and tight. That's holding it one spot. Then we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to go in the other direction. We're going to make sure we're coming up on this other side of this wire over here, like that. Sometimes I like to catch one of those wire caps. I don't like to put too much tension on them. There we go. Like that. Oh, I forgot. I usually like to capture it underneath that, but we will do it this way. We'll come up over here, come around, and just go around like this. All right. Kind of tying those in there. You can do your own little style. I'm just trying to get it as tight and non-moving as possible. So that's got it all tightened down. Use up my zip tie tool. It's going to cut my zip ties and tension them right like that. Okay. Now, next thing I need to do is I need to figure out this end, and I'm going to use a vampire plug. Those slide open like that. So there's a base, and in the base there's 2 little teeth, and those poke into the wires. They actually make a hole in those wires. There is a little piece that sticks up here, and I splay these open because one will go on one side, one will go on the other. So it goes down in the vampire plug like that, and then it lays down this way. And one of my teeth is on this side, one is on that side. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to push down so that it makes good contact. So push it down, and I'll push it down. Okay, you can see where that discolored, that's where that other tooth is. Then before it gets a chance to pop up, we slide this lid over the top, and that makes a finished plug. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to test that, make sure it works before we do anything else. Okay, we have our test cord, and I got one more tool. We'll need aviation snips here in a moment. So the beauty about the vampire plugs is you can make your own length extension cords, and this is also SPT1, and these plugs fit together. Look at that. We have our own individual light that can now go into our blow mold. So let's go ahead and take that off. We'll work on the last little bit of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in, we're going to remove a little bit of this in here so it'll fold down. We're just going to use those to cut either side there. and use that to push that down. It's going to give us space for our wire to come back. Then we're going to make a notch on this side over here for our wire to come out, like that. So this is going to go in to our little slots, just like that. Get our wire to go back in there, and then we can start reassembling it, which means we may have to maneuver just a couple of things around, just so it fits. Oh, tension came off our zip tie. Let's pull that back in. Oh, it's not quite far enough. Oh, sorry about the noises. All right, let's try that again. Go just like that. Slide that back in here. Now I could come out in any number of places on this blow mold. I just prefer to come out that location because it gives me a chance to kind of seal that back up. And take the screw that went there, which is the one with the round head on it, not the trapezoidal head. They're not magnetic, at least on this one, which actually makes it harder to put them in, but at least they don't rust. So there's some sort of either plated or they're stainless, something like that. Okay, so got that sealed back in. The other thing is we want that plug to be in the back, so we're going to make sure we line it up that way. I'm going to put those in there. We'll start putting our screws back in. So put those in there. And these will just thread themselves into the pre-existing holes. Just like that. Okay. Now let's light up our little blow mold girl. There we go. There you go. So, taking it from battery to incandescent. Now she can go out in the yard with the rest of the angels. Well, there you go. That's how you can take one of these battery-operated blow molds, convert it over 120 volt over to 120 volt using a piece of an old C9 incandescent light string, and then you can have individually controllable lighted blow mold characters. So this is my angel choir. There are 32 of those, so I've done this 33 times, and I'm probably going to do a few more as spares just in case some of these go out during the show. I can walk out and replace it really quickly. Merry Christmas. Keep those little lights a twinkling. Ag Teacher Christmas out.